In what way does your media product use, develop or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? We try to challenge forms and conventions of real media products as much as possible in order to have a successful extract. However, we didn't want to follow the guidelines too much, as it would mean that film wouldn't be unique and original, which was also one of our main goals. We started off by using red on the opening title sequence to connote danger and death, which could foreshadow Lucy's future. Red is also the colour of Lucy's coat, which makes it more specific. We also used the common "he's behind you" technique later on in the extract when Lucy's in the car, which is a common film convention to build tension. This is because you can see something that the character can't, and you can overall hopefully feel scared for the character. The characters are conventional and other typical for other slasher films that we researched. For example, the blonde female protagonist and the male antagonist, which are common in most films. This, however, marginalises women and empowered men, which we also found bugged the females' audience as a lot. This is because they were obviously marginalised in the film. The shadows at the end of the film extract shows the antagonist to be bigger, which could also signify that he is more empowered. The slasher genre share many common conventions, the most obvious being dark environment, the main murderer, the main victim, ominous music and the enigma. These all help to keep the audience guessing and to also build up tension. In our film, we tried not to show the killer's face as much as possible, as this makes him seem more spooky and is a type of mask that is often used in the other films like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, for example. We use iconography similar to that of other films in the slasher genre. Some aspects of this is the dark and gloomy setting and the low-key lighting which creates shadows. Also, we use the theme of stalking, which is used in Prom Night, to build up tension levels and to leave the audience gasping for more. The monotone drone that we used is common in slasher films, and we also try to make the audience grip to the edge of their seats. All of these aspects were decided through results from our audience feedback. To be more creative, however, we didn't stick completely to conventions. We used modern and twisted storyline to interest the audience as it's unique to any other. We also used our own monotone drones and tried to make them different to those of any other slasher films. We also used close-ups to show the expressions on the victim's face before she dies, which we hoped would scare the audience to make them feel pain for the victim. Looking back at your preliminary task, what do you feel you have learnt in the progression from it to your full product? The key thing that I've learned is the importance of planning. On the prelim task, we didn't plan thoroughly, which means the original plan wasn't successful. This was also the case when we started film, as the time of day made it impossible to film in the darkness. This meant we had to change the storyline to adjust with the filming times, which obviously made it awkward. Our prelim task also helped us to understand the concepts of match and action, which we used when Lucy opened the door, the 180-degree rule and the shot reaction shots, which are all used throughout. We learned a variety of techniques to keep our audience interested and to make the film less confusing. This was mainly the 180-degree rule, as it helps the audience make sense of what is going on. We also learned that the shot reaction shot is very good at building tension because you get to see the different expressions from each character. By researching Scream, we also found that the mise-en-scene was very important, so we decided to plan the costumes, makeup and props in advance to make it easier to film on the day. What have you learned about technologies from the process of constructing this product? When we started planning, we had an idea about the original point of view shot from the antagonist on the back seat of the car. This, however, didn't look right when we began editing, so we had to change it a couple of times to gain some clearer shots. We also decided to add breathing over the top of the blackouts to help build tension. We have learned that the technology can be very limited, however. For example, we had an original idea to have the title sequence following the protagonist. However, this wasn't possible to do on the Apple Macs, which meant we had to change our original idea. The target audience is also of great importance. This means the feedback we received was seriously taken into account, so we knew the aspects of the audience would like to see in the next extract. The time of day was a huge issue, as we originally wanted to film at night. This, however, proved impossible as it got too dark too quickly, which meant that the filming wasn't clear when we uploaded it onto the Apple Macs. We decided to introduce the aspect of Web 2.0. We did this by using Facebook for various feedback. We uploaded our film original onto YouTube, but realised later that this wasn't providing us with enough information, so then we uploaded it later onto Facebook and used the feedback to help us improve. For example, many people commented on the overall background noise being too loud. We later changed these aspects. The technology in iMovie we found to be very restricted. This is because there isn't enough options to fit in the criteria that we needed. We later had to change our plans to fit in with the computer technology. There was many problems with the cameras being faulty. Even though this wasn't the case for us, we decided we had to double check before, in between and after our filming that the camera worked efficiently, so there was no problems when later uploading. GarageBand was also successful, as we made successful monotone drones and various other noises for our film. We made a mood board which involved many of our main ideas. This helped us when putting together the storyboard and also when creating the film, because we could easily see the inspiration and use the main attractive parts in the storyboard. It also prevented us from forgetting our ideas and helped us on the computer software. Who would be the audience for your media product? From our in-depth research, we found that mainly males like to watch the films from the slasher genre, as they tend to contain lots of gore. Females, on the other hand, said they preferred not to, as it frightened them too much. We have decided to try and make our film suit both genders. We did this by having more female characters and making them more empowered. One of these females is going to be the assistant murderer. The main thing that annoyed both genders is how females are always marginalised. By having a female killer, it empowers females and make them more likely to view the film. Aiming at an age around 18 to 35, this is because most slashers are 18 certificate, which means our film wouldn't be suitable for anyone younger. Also, this is the main age group that visits the cinema, making it easier to distribute the film. In our research, we also found that people of around this age are more common viewers of the slasher film. Hopefully this will increase popularity as it is a wider target audience. We questioned 20 people of different ages, 10 being male and 10 being female. The results showed many different responses and we decided to interview people to get more in-depth answers. Doing this, we got a greater insight to see how people feel about the slasher genre. It later helped us to make decisions on who we should be aiming our film at and our target audience. The answers given from our people we questioned can be generalised overall for people of the slasher genre. This gives us a rough guide on how to meet the audience's expectations. How did you attract your audience? We tried to attract our audience by researching what different audience would like. Questionnaires showed that females generally preferred less blood and gore, however males preferred more gory parts, so we settled for something in between, with shadows portraying the death. It is still gory, however hides the blood and makes the death more subtle. We did this by varied questionnaires given out to our target audience, showing them example clips of our inspiration film scenes, like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre for example, and then asked a series of questions. The answers from the questionnaires and the answers given from the questions were taken into account. We tried to make our film fit the audience wants and needs, which will hopefully attract more people to see our film. We went against some main stereotypes to attract the film audience, and also quite a lot of females said that they disliked the gore but loved the tension. So we tried to make the gore more subliminal by using shadows on the wall and tried to build a lot of tension using monotone drones. We also tried to use characters of around the target audience age. This is because we are hoping that the audience would be able to relate to the characters and may feel more attached, which would help build tension and make when the characters are closer to death. When we put together the character profiles, it made it easier to attract the original target audience. In the questionnaire, we asked what they would like about certain characters, for example, and tried to include this in the character profiles. We found that most of the people we questioned preferred an unmasked killer. This helped us build an overall image of what the characters should look like and also how they should act. We then took the pictures of the actors who were going to play the characters. We made them each wear a costume that we thought roughly the characters should be wearing in the final production to help us build an even bigger picture. What kind of media institution might distribute your media product and why? New Line Cinema would be a good distributor for our film. This is because it has distributed some slashers in the past, including Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which was a huge influence in the product of our extract, and also The Nightmare on Elm Street. Because New Line has successfully distributed slashers in the past and has become a popular distributor, it means that they would overall know the best techniques to distribute further films in the slasher genre. This would overall help attract a wide audience and means that more money can be put into distributing. How does your media product represent particular social groups? The ending shows Dom to be empowered and the common blonde bimbo being killed. This goes along with all typical stereotypes of common slasher films. These stereotypes were present in the films I researched, including Scream, Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Prom Night. The girl involved in the car, however, empowers females because usually it is all male killers. However, having a female involved as part of the murdering scenario to help the main antagonist helps empower women overall and will hopefully also interest a wider female audience as they may be happy. Female involvement goes against all usual stereotypes. Questionnaires and research showed that audiences were bored of the usual stereotypes that happens in our films. Only male involvement in the death, for example, therefore we added a female to show that females are now less marginalised. The murderer is threatening and his face is always hidden so to hide his identity. It also helps build tension and an aspect of mystery. Characters are also all teenagers, which makes them look more vulnerable, possibly.